Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. So today I wanted to do a bit of an art challenge, and I've seen this done online a little bit before, mainly on TikTok, but I actually want to try and paint on this glass frame here using my acrylic paints and a permanent marker. So I've seen people do this sort of challenge online, mainly on TikTok. I'm not sure if people have done it on YouTube, but they probably definitely have. But anyways, so my first step is to do a sketch of what I want to draw on a piece of paper, because that's just going to make it so much easier. And I decided for my artwork I was going to do something really cute here and have a cute little couple with Eevee and Pikachu, and they're just sort of like cuddling, and I just wanted to make it like really cute and adorable, and I feel like the sort of animated style is really going to work well for the results that you can actually get with this painting on glass. So one thing to note when doing this part of the artwork is that whatever you're sketching out is eventually going to be flipped. So if you're like sketching something that has words in it, or just like a specific scene that you want to do, you got to make sure that you draw it as if it's a mirror image, because you don't want this to end up backwards after all of your hard work. Now this isn't too much of an issue with my artwork, as you can see, because it's just these two cute simple characters that don't have any differences when you flip it, but definitely keep that in mind for if you want to try this out yourself. So yeah, I'm just sketching this out with just a normal like a lead pencil, just on some regular printer paper, and I'm not too particular on like leaving some lines, obviously like guidelines and stuff, because this isn't going to be the final artwork. And I decided on just doing a cute little couple with these two characters here, and then I decided to add some flowers to them for some details. So you can see there's some flowers around his neck and also on her ears, and just like around them as well, just for some added cuteness and detail. Now as you can see, I have carefully taken the glass out of this frame, and very terrified that I am going to break the glass, so I was very careful and I taped it down onto the paper so it wouldn't move around, and I actually moved the paper over underneath as well, just to sort of reposition them better in the frame so that they were in the middle of the space. Now for the line art, I'm actually just using a black marker. I wanted to use a permanent marker, but I ended up, my black permanent marker wasn't working, so I just used this sort of black graphic marker. It was like one of the ones from Officeworks. It's basically the same thing as a permanent marker anyways. But if you're going to be doing this yourself, I do recommend, and online they also recommended an oil-based Sharpie, which apparently works better, and yeah, that's what people recommended online, but I didn't have one, so this was the next best thing. And I was a little worried that the ink from this might like run or stain the paint or anything like that, but I don't think I had any issues, so that's good. Now I didn't want to go too fancy with the line art here, but I just wanted to make sure that my lines were nice and solid, and they were nice and smooth, and some of them had slightly thicker outlines just around the characters to sort of solidify them a little bit more. And I was very careful when doing fine details like the face and the flowers and the eyes. I actually waited to near the end to do the faces, just so that like my hand had warmed up a bit and I was able to get those details really nice. Now for the pupils on the eyes, I decided to just color them in with the black marker, just because I wanted that to be the same tone as the rest of the line art. So anyways, altogether, so far so good. I actually quite enjoyed with the marker on the glass. I felt like it just went down so smoothly, and you don't have that texture like you do on the paper, so it was really fun to do. Now is the time to remove the sketch, and just so I can see what I'm working on, I decided to add a clean piece of paper underneath, just so that I could fix up a few details. And now it's time to mix some paint for the final stage of this artwork. So I decided to work on Pikachu first, so I mixed up a few colors. We have a base color and also a shadow and a highlight color for Pikachu here. Now you're going to be very careful with the order in which you paint things, because the first layer of paint that you put down on this glass is actually going to be the layer that you're going to see on the top of the other layers of paint that you do later on. So we're basically painting this backwards, if that makes sense, because you're actually going to end up covering up all of these line art and stuff, and the final artwork that you're going to see at the end is actually on the reverse side of the glass, which ends up looking so cool. So with that in mind, I went in and I used my shadow paint for Pikachu, and I went into the areas where I wanted shadows to be, and after that I added in some of the light yellow for the highlights in areas where I wanted the highlights to be on Pikachu. And then after this I actually went in and just added a lot of small details all over the artwork, just because I wanted to make sure that I didn't miss those little details when I would go in and add like base layers over the top. So as you can see, for the light parts of Eevee's fur, I added in little white streaks, and then later on I went in and I mixed up the shadow color for Eevee's like little fur tufts. And then while I was waiting for that to dry, I did a bit more detail on Pikachu's face. And then after those layers were dry, I painted down the base color for the tufts around Eevee's neck and on Eevee's tail. Now the painting method when you're layering down paint is quite different to when you're layering it down on a canvas or paper. You really have to layer it on thick and almost do like lots of blobs, because you really want the paint to be as solid as you can, and also the texture of the paint doesn't really matter at all as long as you get some really good coverage. So as you can see, there's quite a lot of like weird streaks on Pikachu and Eevee, as you can see, and when I'm painting down those flowers I kind of just blob it on there as much as I can. This is honestly really fun to do. You kind of feel like a kid just putting down lots of paint, and it really does not matter as long as you don't go outside of the lines where there isn't color added already, if that makes sense. So now that you can see that Pikachu is nearly complete, it does look quite strange with just the paint all over covering up that line art, but it's going to be great anyways, because you're going to see that line art on the other side, and it kind of looks a bit funny how they just like block colors. It's almost as if you've done a digital illustration and then like removed layers. So for the blending on Eevee's face, I actually decided I wanted to try a little bit of a wet on wet blending technique just to see how that would end up. But honestly, I have no idea how it looks until I look at it at the end, but I think it was probably going to be interesting. Now I gotta say, I wish I did more layers on Eevee and Pikachu's eyes, but overall I think it's going to be not too bad. So here it is. Now I have no idea what it's going to look like at the time of turning it over, so let's find out together how it turned out. And here is the final results, and honestly I love this so much. Now it's not perfect, there are definitely a few little parts here that could be a bit better, but overall for my first ever try of like this painting on glass technique, I just think it turned out so cool. The color is like purely solid. It almost looks like a digital like illustration, but it is traditional, and I just think that that looks so cool. Now actually for the final results, I decided to try just some like printed pattern paper behind in this frame here, and I just think that it looks really cute with this adorable little painting over the top, and you can actually change out the backgrounds to whatever you like too, which I just think is such a cool little like thing, because maybe you don't like the background and you decide to switch it out for something else, and yeah, I just think that that's so cool. So anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video and I hope you found it interesting. I definitely found it very interesting myself, and I have a few ideas of what I want to try another time for this painting on glass technique. I just think it's so interesting and fun, and let me know in the comments below if you have tried this yourself. I definitely would love to hear about that. Hope you're having a fantastic day. Please stay safe out there, and I shall see you in my next video. Bye everyone.